one of the decisions that browsers have made over the last few years is the deprecation of the third-party cookie. And as much as this was a policy decision, I personally believe this is a policy decision rooted in ethics around the consumers that are actually using those browsers to engage with content. It's a really interesting time within the industry. And that decision to deprecate third-party cookies largely came from the industry stretching the bounds of what the third-party cookie and that technology was actually meant to do. But B, as Nicola has mentioned multiple times in this conversation, consumers also not understanding what data is being collected and how it's used. I often talk to client teams around the fact that most consumers don't even know that when they opt out of a website or they opt out of a vendor who's tracking them, if they clear their cookies, they've opted out of the opt-out because that's how the mechanism works. That is a mind-blowing construct for consumers and sometimes for even our brands, because there is so little education around what a cookie actually is and what it collects. So we've seen these browsers take more ethical stances by removing the third-party cookie or telling us that the third-party cookie will get deprecated over the next, now I believe it's 15 months. But I do believe that that's not just a byproduct of regulation, but also a byproduct of this conversation around ethics.
I think that's undoubtedly right, because clearly cookies have got a very useful purpose to play, a very useful role in measurement and so forth. But it was how they were being extended and what they were increasingly being used to that made consumers, I guess, feel icky. Some of that tracking, because it wasn't understood, and because no matter how much we tried to explain or the industry tried to explain it, consumers just didn't get it. And so I think that was probably based on an ick factor decision at some point to deprecate those and to challenge the industry that's very innovative to come up with new ways of doing what it wants to do. I think I undoubtedly agree with you that ethics is having a huge part to play in some of these policy shifts.